Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to Wrestleview Post-Raw, number 143. That's a lot of Post-Raws. There's a lot of time talking about Monday Night Raw. I am Mike Tedesco of Wrestleview.com. Good to see you, everybody. Thanks for joining us for the first Raw of 2022. I'm flying solo again tonight because the baby is still sick, and Victoria just has not been sleeping now. The baby is getting better, though, which is... Saturday was like really awful, really, really awful. I mean, I told you what happened after, about 10 minutes after the ball dropped. We had an unpleasant surprise from Liliana being extremely sick. And now she's starting to get better. We took her to the doctor today. COVID test, no COVID. All is right with the world. Our child is okay. She just has her first really bad cold. So just have to truck it out. And Victoria's got to sleep. So I'm doing the show by myself tonight. All right. So let's say hello to everybody in the chat room. Thank you all for joining me tonight. We got the man, Andrew Elder here. We got Kit Dyson. We have Billy Hefner, Uncle Billy. We got Goosey here. Thanks for joining me, everybody. And if I missed you, just say hello, and I'll make sure I say hello back. But it's the first Raw of 2022. We talked about day one this past Saturday, which feels weird. Like it's always weird to have a wrestling pay-per-view on a Saturday. Wrestling fans are just creatures of habit, pretty much. Monday night, you think Raw. Thursday night for me, historically, when I think of Thursday night, it's always like, oh, SmackDown, but it's no longer the case. It's now on Fridays. It was on Tuesday for a while too, but that never really took off either. Wednesday, automatically, my mind goes right to Impact. Tuesday, my mind is starting to get used to saying NXT, but it's not quite there yet. And the Rumble is going to be on a Saturday too. I don't hate the pay-per-views being on Saturdays, even though it does it's like right in the middle of the weekend. And for me, it upsets my plans ever so slightly with what I like to do. But it's just so much better. Like it's like you can actually, you feel like you can enjoy it more because most people are off on Sunday, not me, because, I have to do the church work and thing here. But for the most part, most of the people who would watch wrestling, traditionally Sunday's like an off day for a lot of people. So not everybody's off on Sunday, believe me, I know. But I don't, even though I have to work in the morning, like I don't feel like the pressure, like it's like Sunday and I got to go to work on Monday. Saturdays are not bad. I didn't hate it on Saturday. It was just like weird when I was like, oh, we're going to see on Raw tomorrow. I'm like, Raw is not tomorrow. There's like a day to digest everything that you saw. So it made me actually, just from Saturday, the result from Saturday with Brock Lesnar coming out on top, it made me actually, in like a weird way, want to watch Raw even more. Just, having time to think about what happened and get excited. I definitely was very excited to watch this Raw tonight. And honestly, it didn't disappoint. I kind of figured somehow, some way, we would get that fatal four-way that we were supposed to get at day one. And we sure did. And if we got that at day one, along with Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, it would have been an excellent pay-per-view. And instead, we still had an excellent pay-per-view, but we, they made it a fatal five-way with a really surprising ending. But if the pay-per-view had just gone according to plan, it still would have been an excellent show, with this match really highlighting, what was going on. Very, very good stuff. And I also thought, I was like, there's no way that they can get Brock Lesnar the title and then just send him home. And a couple people did report that Brock Lesnar got on an airplane and went home after the show. Not us, not Wrestleview. We don't do stupid stuff like that. But, a certain reporter swore up and down that Brock Lesnar was not going to be on Raw. And he was the first one to come out. Well, not really the first one. Paul Heyman was. So let's talk about this Raw from Greenville, South Carolina. We haven't seen Paul Heyman since he was beaten down by Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Sweet Lewis Feraldi's here. Michun Walls, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you and your family as well, Michun. Thank you very much. And hello to Sweet Lewis Feraldi. Hello. So, all right, we're starting to get some people in here. This is good. So, the show kicks off with Paul Heyman coming out and referring to himself once again as an advocate and introducing the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE Heavyweight Champion of the world, Brock Lesnar, of the ring. And Brock comes out to this huge ovation. I got to tell you, Billy Hefner texted me earlier tonight something about Brock having just a great time with this title reign so far. And he really, really is. Let me see if I can pull up some of the great pictures that he's been putting up lately of him just having fun. Let's see. Well, there was his Twitter has not been updated in quite some time, but there's a Brock Lesnar. There's like a picture of Brock Lesnar with Wayne Gretzky. Him just posing with a fan, having some fun. It's good to see Brock Lesnar having a good time. And he seems to, I don't know. I mean, I know he gets paid per appearance, and of course money trumps everything, but it seems like he actually is having fun and kind of wants to be there. I get that feeling that he's working a lot more now. Now he's going to be on SmackDown this week too. So that's going to be 3 shows that, Roy posted it in the Facebook group. That's what it was. Okay. That'll be 3 shows in 1 week. I can't remember the last time Brock Lesnar worked 3 shows since coming back in 2012, which is insane to me to think that Brock Lesnar's return to WWE, which was on the Raw after WrestleMania 28, which I went to that show with Adam Martin and Doug Lackey. And I also was able to break the news that Brock Lesnar was seen in Miami and was imminently returning to WWE, which turned out to be correct, of course. But that's 10 years ago. I'm like, what? That's going to be 10 years ago this year. Wow. I mean, time really, really flies. It's crazy how fast it goes. I was a young pup at 24 years old. My God, that's pretty crazy. Now I'm going to be 34 this year. No, I won't be 35 this year. Excuse me. I was 24 at the WrestleMania though. It's crazy. So anyway, Brock Lesnar has been incredible. But he hasn't worked. He's had the part-time thing going on. He has not worked. I don't think more than 2 shows. So this will be very interesting to see him on SmackDown this week as well. So exciting stuff. Brock Lesnar seems to really, really be having a lot of fun. And, he threw the steps in the ring. He's using them as a platform. There's just some great visuals going on here with Brock early on in the show. Let me throw some stuff up on the screen for you to look at while I speak to your faces. Yeah, welcome to mid-30s. Thanks. It's just a number. It's just a number. Yeah, he seemed to have a lot of fun. Just I don't know if they planned that or what, him throwing the steps in the ring, but he was definitely having some fun there. And I love Mountain Man Brock with the ponytail thing and all that stuff. Hello, Nafis Sadat, our dear friend Nafis. He is here tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I was 32 when Brock came back, according to Andrew Elder. I can do the math. Yeah. Oh, wow. Welcome to the 40s. All right. So, Brock Lesnar. There was something with the Greenville crowd tonight where they were kind of quiet for a lot of stuff. And it led to a couple times that the faces had to shout the name of the town to get some kind of reaction. Thank you, Nafis. I sure did. Yeah, I really did. It was really great this year. I was determined to have a good holiday, and we certainly had it, even though the baby got sick, over the break and all that stuff, but we still had some fun. But Brock Lesnar has to shout Greenville, and they finally start to respond a little bit to him. And He thanks Paul Heyman for advocating for him. He tells Roman Reigns to acknowledge him because Roman Reigns is supposed to be watching Monday Night Raw on his couch, and he calls himself the real champion. So the Roman Reigns feud is far from over. Even at the end of the show, Brock Lesnar makes sure to say that he will be on SmackDown this Friday to confront Roman Reigns. So I guess Roman Reigns is coming back on Friday. I guess he'll be cleared. I know that the CDC, the new guidelines, which really seem like kind of BS and more geared to just like, oh, we the economy we cannot afford to lose workers. So 5 days and just wear a really good mask. So that way you won't spread it. I guess it's 5 days. I guess he'll be cleared to come back. You're able to come back for that. So, I mean, Brock Lesnar in the ring with an unmasked Roman Reigns, that'll be a little interesting. I mean, I feel really bad for Roman Reigns. They all throughout the pandemic, they've gone out of their way to protect the guy. Yeah, obviously, because he battles leukemia. So that impacts your immune system. You know, early on in the pandemic, it was supposed to be Roman Reigns versus Goldberg at WrestleMania 36, and they pulled him from that match because of concerns over his health. And there was so much, unknown about the coronavirus at the time. Then he returns at SummerSlam and he has this really tremendous run, in the empty arena at the Thunderdome. He does, obviously, people come back. They keep him away from people for the most part. And there was one time, I forget what pay-per-view it was. It might have been Extreme Rules. I want to say Extreme Rules, where he fought into the crowd and he somehow emerged. I think it was with the Finn Balor thing. And he somehow, I don't even know how they did it. It was like just so stealthy. It was just really, really awesome how they did it. But they fight in the crowd. All of a sudden, there's Roman Reigns with a mask. I mean, they went out of their way to protect him from getting COVID. Kept him off the holiday shows after, in between, Christmas and day one, and he still wound up getting it. So I feel really bad for him. I'm really relieved to hear the news that Brock Lesnar wants to confront Roman Reigns on SmackDown this Friday, because that means that Roman Reigns is okay and he is coming back. So a lot of positives there, but it's just amazing. Like this pandemic, you can try to run and hide from it, and it somehow finds you. Now, it, knocking on wood, has not found me yet. I have been quarantined before. I have been close contact before, but I've never, and thank God, no one in this house has had COVID. So let's just keep it that way. I don't get it. But it has been said in the past that we will have to die to get the economy back. So some people are literally doing that. Anyway, Brock Lesnar calls himself the real champion. He thanks his advocate as well. And at first, he thanked him in a way that was like, is he going to attack Paul Heyman right now? But no, he thanked him, shook his hand. He said, thank you for, advocating my free agency, advocating all the strings that you pulled on Saturday to help make me the WWE champion. He shakes his hand and Heyman looks emotional. And then Heyman just unleashed one of his classic, awesome Paul Heyman promos, just a beautiful classic one. He talks about how, he negotiated allegedly in advance Brock Lesnar's free agency. He negotiated a title-hungry Lesnar to get a title shot when one champion couldn't show up, but the other could. What's better than a fatal four-way, a fatal five-way? He went to the match and won the title, and he will now concentrate not only on reigning, but defending. And he will defend the title at the Royal Rumble against the winner of the originally scheduled fatal four-way, which takes place tonight. Heyman runs down the competitors in the match, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens. He tells them that they're cowards. They attack people from behind, and they team up, and they're like wolves. And he says maybe they should go over to SmackDown because there is a vulnerable champion without his special counsel. And then Heyman dropped the line of the night by saying, "Look, 1 week without Paul Heyman, and Reigns already has COVID." And that definitely obviously a planned thing, but they the crowd definitely did the ooh thing, and then he goes, you can get over the Rona, but karma is really bitchy. He was great. He was really, really good. And then he runs over Lashley, says that puts Lashley over huge. 48 hours ago, Bobby Lashley speared Lesnar down, put him in the hurt lock, had him beat, looked like, but every time he hit him, it was from behind only. It was only from behind. If he wins at the Royal Rumble, he'll have to face Brock Lesnar face to face, and there's a big difference between hitting him from behind and facing him face to face. And then Paul Heyman really does a good job putting over Big E. He called Lashley a Brock Lesnar wannabe, and he did a great job of putting over Big E, because Big E, it seems like, I mean, just from the finish of the Fatal 4-Way tonight, that that Lashley, I do think Lashley probably would have won the match. I think Lashley would be the WWE champion right now. But instead, with the surprise ending, the surprise entrance of Brock Lesnar and the losing the Reigns versus Lesnar match, they hotshot the title on the Lesnar, and so he's the champion instead. But it looks like, I don't know. To me, it seems like Bobby Lashley was going to be on Saturday until like 6 o'clock on Saturday. They put over Big E great here. Call him the odds-on favorite in the Fatal 4-Way. He's a great champion. He did justice and is a credit to World Wrestling Entertainment, its fans, its managers, the roster, everything. He just put it on. The television partners. He did it all. He went out of his way. They have nothing but respect for and admiration for Big E. If he wins tonight and gets the rematch, it would be an honor to witness the match. But if he loses, and he will lose, it will still be an honor to watch him lose to the greatest WWE champion of all time, the winner of the Fatal 5-Way, and now the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE Heavyweight Champion of the world, Brock Lesnar. Just a great opener. Really, really awesome. And it got me thinking immediately. Brock Lesnar, until the end of the night, Bobby Lashley winning, and now it's going to be Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley at the Royal Rumble. Initially, I was thinking, like, my God, like, they should give Big E the rematch, have him lose. And then, I mean, WrestleMania is 2 nights this year. You're looking for they need to have 2 big main events to bookend both shows. You need to have a big main event that people want to see on night 1 and a big main event that people want to see on night 2 to make sure that you sell out the stadium each time. Brock Lesnar right now is on fire. I said on Saturday night on the day 1 post show that Brock Lesnar, to me, for my money, is one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. And just his understanding of character, his presence, the money he draws, the aura that he brings, but then his promos and his character work have been off the charts great. He's incredible in the ring. He's just a genius sometimes, I think. And of course, a lot of it has to do with Paul Heyman too. But he steps up to the plate. He's always been an excellent professional wrestler, and he's proven over the last 10 years with this run that he is one of the greats of all time. Brock Lesnar main eventing WrestleMania 2 nights in a row. As obviously there hasn't been many 2-night WrestleManias, but it's never been done. And it might never be done again. Who knows? But I was thinking, wow, Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania Night 1. They could still do that, but maybe they add Big E into that match. I don't know. That could be really good. And then night 2, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal title. And maybe Brock Lesnar winds up holding both world championships. I'm not saying there's going to be unification or anything like that, because the brand split is not going away. Not for any time soon, it seems like. But wow, you can really dream on this stuff. Like it sucks that Reigns got COVID, and I'm glad that he's better and he's coming back on SmackDown. And it seems like that's what's happening. But wow, this sad event turned into kind of like a real opportunity for professional wrestling fans to get to see some really, really cool things and some cool matches. And I'm just glad to see that, like, Vince McMahon and the writing staff have kind of gone old school again and are just not overcomplicating things. Something bad happened, put the title on Lesnar, and let's just have some fun. We have to reset all our storylines. Let's just go back to basics. It doesn't need to be some long, stupid, convoluted story like the type of story that almost killed all the momentum for Becky Lynch heading into WrestleMania 35, where she was suspended and all this stupid stuff. It's like, whatever. But I gotta say, Raw has been watchable. Nick Khan, you can see, we've said a lot about him on this show. I hate him. I think I even at one point, I forget if it was on. Let me just book back so you can look at that. I think even at one point, I can't remember if it was on this show or on one of the shows where we were talking about many of the releases that happened. I know I called Nick Khan a son of a bitch on the air, but there's no denying that there are positive changes that are happening now. I hate to see anybody get released. They are releasing way too many people, but there are, there's more of a focus on Raw. Like it's the disparity between Raw and SmackDown isn't as great anymore. Raw has, for all intents and purposes, there's been a few shows that have been bad. There's always a few shows that are bad for anybody, but since the WWE draft and they bolstered the roster and put a lot of and put a lot of good talent on it, it's been a very watchable show. It had and in fact, I would say it hasn't been awful for a while. December is usually just like kill me now. I have to recap 4 episodes of Raw in December, and they're always going to be awful. They're going to do some Nightmare Before Christmas thing or what. I don't know. It's just going to be awful. This year, Raw in December was awesome. It was awesome. That could be interesting too. I would like to know where this Austin Theory, Vince McMahon stuff is going as well. They definitely have. It's a little weird sometimes, but it could be. Hey, it very well could be. Shane versus Austin Theory. That would be something. Yes, Daniel, it has happened. It has happened. The writing staff for WWE tonight is not getting the treatment from me. They've done a good job these past couple of days. I really do have to say that. Hello, Devi. Let's see. Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley both are undeniably legendary, but Big E versus Brock Lesnar is a more challenging title defense for Brock Lesnar. Big E might take his title back. It very well could. In fact, we haven't really seen Brock Lesnar face Big E, in a real singles match. So that could be really good. That could very well could be one of the WrestleMania main events. But man, I'm going to call it right here. January 3rd, 2022. I'm calling Brock Lesnar is going to have 2 matches at WrestleMania, and it's going to main event both nights. It might not happen. It might happen. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm kind of excited. Mr. V is in the room tonight. Hello, Mr. V. The WWE's resolution was to appease Mike Tedesco. Now that they did it, next week's show will be poopy. I hope not. And I know we had somebody else in here too. I think I said hello to Kit Dyson already. John L. Jackson. I thought I saw that name in there. Okay, there we go. Hello, John L. A unification. Because I think the 2-night WrestleManias are here to stay, which is great. It's like I'd rather have 2 nights of WrestleMania than 8 hours of just a slog. That like when you get over, it's like no one should be happy that WrestleMania is over because it went too long. And for the last couple of years, that's how it's been. I mean, I've been to WrestleMania. 2 WrestleManias, in fact, that went super long. WrestleMania 35 at MetLife and WrestleMania 33 in Orlando. Each time, I left the stadium well, it's over. Thank God. There's times in the show where you're looking at your watch and you're like, can we just get to the main event now? So if you're gonna have 2 nights of WrestleMania, yes, in theory you could also book a really amazing women's title main event and have that headline one of the shows. But other than Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks and a select very few others, look at the matches that the women had tonight. Granted, one of them was a mixed tag with a 24/7 title and it was stupid, but Dana Brooke and Tamina. Dana Brooke is the champion, by the way, the 24/7 champion. Never even tagged into the match. The women's tag team title match that they had tonight was over in the blink of an eye, and it was awful. By the way, Nikki Ash was like, I know they're booking her to be bad, but like she was actually bad in this match tonight. It was so fast that Carmella never even got to tag in. She never even tagged in. It was just Queen Zelina the whole time. So they're not really putting a lot of effort into the women, it seems, or building up new women, I should say. And now they lost Toni Storm, who quit. So for reasons that we don't know yet, there was a fake quote floating around earlier today, but it was not. Toni Storm has not spoken yet about this, and who knows if she will. I don't know. We'll see. But if you're going to have a 2-night WrestleMania, you need 2 world titles to really make it, to have those 2 big main events. You could get, like I said, you could get lucky with a great, women's title match like they did with Becky Lynch, with Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair this year, but those don't come around all the time. Those don't. And, we'll see. But I'm calling it right now. Brock Lesnar, 2 nights of WrestleMania with Brock Lesnar. I think it could be really, really good. He just has to not get injured the first night. No shooting star presses, please. All right. We did this thing with Randy Orton backstage. There was some stalling on this show tonight with there was a lot of video packages. There was a lot of take our time with the entrances, and then after they make their entrance, let's have them wait in the ring for another video package. Let's just run out a promo and then go to commercial after the promo and then give you the match. There was a couple of those tonight, so I don't know if we had some more of the roster out due to COVID. It's no R-Truth tonight in the 24/7 segment. I don't know if that means anything, but maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But they did seem to be a little light on their talent tonight. So I don't know what that means. Anyway, Randy Orton and Riddle did an exchange backstage where Riddle suggested they start up a rap group, and he says that Orton can be Little Randog. Alpha Academy comes out. They attack RK Bro before the match begins. Then we come back from the break. The match is already in progress. Alpha Academy beats RK Bro in a non-title match. So and Otis pins Riddle. They like Otis right now. I like Otis right now. It's better than whatever the Heavy Machinery thing was. The Heavy Machinery thing was fun. And when he won the Money in the Bank contract, it was still early in the pandemic, and it was just well, we might be in this for a while, so with Otis, at least we can have some fun. And then they realized, ratings are tanking. We got to get to the Thunderdome, and we got to start booking the way that close to how we normally book in order to keep people watching. So then Otis, as the Money in the Bank holder, all of a sudden that was a problem. So we have to get this off him, and they got it off him, and it was not really a positive thing. And then he languished for a long time. Now he finally picked up some momentum with Chad Gable, and Otis looks really good. They built up that Randy Orton match that he had with him last week really well. And while, he didn't come out on top, they started off 2022 with him beating, basically single-handedly beating RK Bro. So we'll see what happens. Maybe that could be I don't think it's a Rumble match, but maybe the week of Rumble, the Raw Go Home show, or maybe the Raw after Royal Rumble, we get Alpha Academy versus RK Bro for the tag team titles. We'll see what happens. But I'm actually interested to see what they do with RK Bro heading into WrestleMania. Do they break him up? Which I really hope they don't, because that's just so typical. And this show needs good tag teams that are interesting, and tag teams get more opportunities to get more people on the air. So I think I saw earlier in the chat somebody suggested Rollins and Owens versus RK Bro for the titles at WrestleMania. Now that could be good. That could be very good. No, Daniel, stop. So they like Otis right now. There was some stalling backstage. We had Bobby Lashley saying that Brock Lesnar fears him. Omos did something. We had the mixed tag match for the 24/7 title. Reggie pins Akira Tozawa, but he does not become 24/7 champion. He was teaming with the 24/7 champion, so if he wins, she retains. I like sometimes I mean, me, I can be a little psychotic every now and then. Sometimes I'll just be in bed, like laying down and like get ready to sleep. I'm like, oh, the 24/7 title still exists. What? It like makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. It's been like the same people. Yeah, now they have Dana Brooke and Tamina in there to freshen things up with their comedic genius and killer, match work. Not to any of that, by the way. But it's just been like R-Truth and Akira Tozawa just doing stuff forever. They had Drake Maverick doing stuff, and then they got rid of him for like the 9th time. But it's been the same gag since 2019 when R-Truth rolled up Drake Maverick at his wedding. It's been the exact same gag week in and week out. Okay. I mean, I just can't. I literally cannot believe it's still a thing. But I also can't believe the women's tag team titles are still a thing. I just can't believe it. There's like one tag team, one or two, and they keep fighting. Ugh, God, it's brutal. Becky Lynch came out for a promo, talked about New Year's resolutions and how she's Vincent Van Gogh and something, and it was just there for me. That promo, she ran down Liv Morgan. Morgan swore she'd win the title, but on the first day of the year, she broke the promise to herself and to the people. Liv Morgan comes out to no reaction whatsoever. They still try to claim that she has all this momentum, but every time she comes out, it never feels like she has any momentum. The match on Saturday started off with like no heat for Liv Morgan, and then it built into a really good match because Becky Lynch is a good professional wrestler, and Liv Morgan was up for the challenge for sure, and she did a good job. But the way they booked her with the horrible promos and, like, oh, I'm a face girl, so I have to cry and all that, it's just very bad. And now that she lost, and she lost clean, I believe Becky Lynch was supposed to get her feet on the ropes at day one, looking at the replay of it, but she was too far away, couldn't really get her feet on the ropes, so basically she pinned Liv Morgan clean. Why would I want to see that match again? She beat her by cheating, and then she beat her clean. Why would I want to see that match? But we have to just continue on. Liv Morgan comes out, talks about how she's so passionate. And ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to just leave it all in the ring. It's like, oh, God. It wasn't as offensively horrible as her promos have been in recent weeks, but it was still bad. It was just not good. And then Bianca Belair came out, and she's great. She's really, really good. She's an excellent promo, but tonight they did not did not script for her a good promo, and she didn't really connect with the crowd. And she, it's kind of hard to say that, like, I want to see Bianca Belair connect more. I cannot believe that they botched Bianca Belair, but they botched her at SummerSlam, and then they botched getting her momentum back. They had a chance in early November. Late October, when Bianca Belair faced Charlotte Flair for the title on Raw. And it's like, well, Charlotte Flair is going over to SmackDown, so might as well have Bianca Belair beat her. No. And then, at Crown Jewel, she again loses to Becky Lynch to not get the SmackDown women's title. And then her momentum was gone once again. She should have beat Charlotte Flair. That would have done all she needed just to get that momentum back. Instead, they did that horrible title switch with Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair that was a disaster. It would have been so much better the other way, just drop the titles, give the title up on the way out. Like, is that typical as well? Sure, but it's better than giving the titles away. Well, it's just there. It's like, it's amazing. It's amazing. But she says that she has a thing with Becky Lynch and she wants to face her. So it actually winds up, Doudrop gets involved in this somehow backstage. And now it's going to be Doudrop versus Bianca Belair versus Liv Morgan next week, with the winner facing Becky Lynch at the Royal Rumble. I do not see Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch at the Royal Rumble. That to me sounds like a WrestleMania match. So I actually think Doudrop should pick up the win here, and it should be Doudrop versus Becky Lynch. I'd just be interested to see how they do it. Brian, can you run it back having her with win the Rumble in back-to-back years. They really just crippled her. I agree that they've done horrible by her, and that could be a thing that gets her momentum back for sure. That absolutely could work, 100%. If she, if she's able to, like, if they put her in the Rumble and she wins again, that would be something. Speaking of the Rumble, I don't think I mentioned this on day one. Johnny Knoxville? Am I in 2002? Like, what the hell? Like, if they got Johnny Knoxville for the Royal Rumble in 2002 or 2003, and especially with WWE's fan base, if he came out in the height of Jackass, that would have been huge. It would have been. But Johnny Knoxville is like a busted up old stuntman now, trying to just, it's like it's like the Jersey Shore. It's like they were big in 2009, 2010. I never watched the show, but Victoria loves the show. I've never watched an episode with her because I will, there's certain things that do as a husband, but that's not one of them. That was not my vows to watch Jersey Shore. But they did a reunion thing, and every now and then I'll catch a glimpse of it. It's like these girls are in their 30s now, and they're getting, boffo drunk. Like, it's like, what? Like it's just pathetic to watch. It's sad to watch. It's like when Triple H and Shawn Michaels reformed DX, and they're doing all the stuff that they did like 10 years prior. But then you have to ignore all the body work that they had over that 10 years where they were super serious. And it was just like, oh, this is just cringy to watch sometimes. Trying to relive their youth. Johnny Knoxville, just stop. Just stop. I mean, I did like Bad Grandpa. I thought that was funny, but I mean that was like 8 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe. Like, he's trying whatever. Yeah, dude, trying to be relevant. Like Andrew Eldridge, he's trying anything he can to be relevant right now. I cannot believe that they have Johnny Knoxville going into the Royal Rumble. I just can't. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. And it's a huge step down from the celebrity wrestling appearances that they had from Bad Bunny last year. I can't. Maybe John Knoxville would be great. I have no idea, but probably not. Probably not. The guy was, as far as I know, he, even a couple of years ago, he was really, really banged up from all the stupid stunts that they used to do on Jackass. So we'll see. But I just cannot believe that's a thing. Just like I cannot believe that they have also wasted Rhea Ripley in this horrible tag team with Nikki Ass. This tag match sucked. It was horrible. Nikki, Rhea Ripley looked great for the 3 seconds she was in, because she should not be anywhere near this train wreck. Nikki Ash slips going into the ropes, trying a clothesline, and then she just like fumbles, and then her and Zelina go through a clothesline, and then she poses like, I meant to do that. It's like, no, bad, very bad. It's like when you, if that was in a 10-minute match and you slip and do a clothesline, it's like, okay, well, there's more match to go. But when you're basically booked to do only 4 moves and one of them's a botch, 25% of what you did was bad. It was just awful. And then of course they have Nikki Ash lose, and then it's like, come on, this is a waste of Rhea Ripley, a total waste. Street Profits beat Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz. Not a bad match, just a little tune up because the Street Profits lost their title opportunity on Saturday, so we got to get some steam back. Good win over Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz. I gotta say, the augmented reality graphics that they do for Apollo Crews are excellent for a guy who's just on main event. For a guy who hasn't done anything since coming over to Raw, he has excellent augmented reality graphics. I was watching him come down to the ring, and they had the lions, and they had the, then they showed another shot of the entrance ramp, and they had like all these ceremonial staffs that were like bowing in honor to him. And it's like, man, what a production for a guy that they're not doing anything with. I was really blown away by that. I was really, really impressed. It's kind of funny that like a couple weeks ago they had Apollo Crews in Vince McMahon's office and nothing came of that, and he hasn't done anything since. but they're doing something with Austin Theory. By the way, no Finn Balor tonight, too. I also noticed that there's no Finn Balor. They did have Austin Theory there for a few, and they had some. It's like the stuff with Vince is just like super creepy, and they kept showing like these like angles of Vince, and he looked. I mean, yeah, look, the guy's 76 years old. He's closer to 80 than he is 70. And I hope to be alive at 76, let alone running a major, entertainment company and still hitting the gym, every day for like a couple hours and looking jacked. But facial wise, he looks old, really, really old. The kind of old that Vince, 10 years ago would have been like, gotta get this guy off the screen. He looks horrible. He's old. But he's looking like pruny, very pruny, and the neck's hanging. But again, God bless him. Damian Priest versus Dolph Ziggler. This was actually good. This was actually a really good match. The title in this case could change hands by disqualification or countout, which, other than Miz pinning Damian Priest in his underwear, the only times that Damian Priest lost any matches was by countout or disqualification. That anything that he lost was just by that. So they did that match like that. So they were trying to goad Priest, Ziggler and Rude were trying to goad Priest into being counted out or getting disqualified. Didn't work. There were a couple of really good near falls here. I thought there was a couple of times where I was like, oh, I guess they're going to take the title off him because maybe they want Damian Priest to win the Royal Rumble. I don't know, but no, they kept it on him, and they're definitely pushing Damian Priest hard for something. I cannot say whatsoever that if I'm going to book WrestleMania night 1, that I'd be anywhere in the ballpark of interested in seeing Damian Priest versus Brock Lesnar. But Damian Priest versus Bobby Lashley versus Big E versus Damian Priest. Did I say Brock Lesnar as well? Yes, that might interest me, but there's really no circumstance that would really interest me in seeing and having Damian Priest get into a title, like a WWE title feud. Not yet, at least. Miz and Maurice are out in the ring complaining about Beth Phoenix and the treatment from Edge and having to prove themselves. Maurice said that if Beth Phoenix was here, she stole Miz's moment in his match. And if Beth Phoenix was there, she'd punch her in the face. So Beth Phoenix, of course, comes out looking like Rufio from Peter Pan, and she's joined by Edge. And Edge was doing his best tonight to try to make the Miz crack in the ring. I don't think it was scripted when he said, "Oh, what are you upset because the Browns lost again?" Like you would make any excuse in the book for why you lost. So maybe it's because the Browns lost. Or maybe you took a deuce in your pants when you heard Beth Phoenix's music, and you could see Miz was like trying so hard not to crack even a little bit. And he did a good job with it, but Edge was definitely working to try to get him a little bit. And then, of course, it leads to the challenge for Royal Rumble: Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Miz and Maurice. There it is. We've been waiting for it. I didn't think that they would have enough to pull it out to WrestleMania. And after seeing the match with Edge and Miz at day 1, I don't know if I'd want to see them drag this out until WrestleMania because it really wasn't that great. But Royal Rumble, not that far away. There's definitely enough steam in this program to get them there. So I'm excited to see it. Brian, I don't get Priest. At least they've shown some type of character development with him, so I can respect it. Yeah, at least they're doing like the thing where he's like good and evil, like where he has like almost like a split personality. And is Maurice going to wrestle? This is the 3rd time they've done this, and she hasn't done a move. Oh, we'll see. She does stuff. Maurice is just really much better in small spurts, and that was true of when she was a full-time wrestler as well, doing her stuff. So we'll see. We'll see what they do with that. But we all figured it was coming. It's here. It is happening. AJ Styles versus Omos. And in a feud that nobody wanted and didn't ask for. It's happening. Omos is being positioned as a monster heel. If you're going to try to establish him as a monster heel in a singles run, might as well have AJ Styles be his first opponent because that's probably as good as it's ever going to get. Omos, they were able to hide all of his weaknesses of which there's quite a few weaknesses with that man's game. Makes up for it by looking good and being huge, but there's a lot of weaknesses. And they kept the match short. That's going to be the secret sauce for this guy. I don't know if he'll ever be a good professional wrestler, but if they kind of keep to this formula, he could be passable. But it will get old after a while. And I mean, I just had a had a flash in my head. Like, what if they do Omos versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? But I mean, it would be cool to see Brock Lesnar like just lift him up and hit an F5. So I mean, it could happen. I don't know what the full. I don't see like a full like book the show around this guy vibe from Omos. I don't think he's that talented. You know, and it's one thing to be big, but it's another thing to be big and actually be good at what you're doing. So we'll see. Trevor Mishke here. Omos reminds me of Zeus. That's a tremendous comparison. In fact, it's like so funny that like, you know, Zeus is tiny Tim Lister, even though he wasn't actually a small man at all. But, you know, tiny Lister and gigantic Omos having real comparisons to each other. Yeah, that's a strong comparison. Finally, we had the Fatal 4-Way number one contenders match. This was just tons of action. It was obviously a pay-per-view quality match because, hey, you know, this was the match they were going to do on the pay-per-view. Bobby Lashley going for a spears himself through the barricade, power bombs through the table. Owens and Rollins powerbomb Big E through the commentary table. They fight into the stands. They go to the concession area. Big E hits a Uranagi on Kevin Owens through a table that looked like it sucked on the concrete. That looked horrible. This was impressive as hell. A senton bomb off an entrance ramp onto the competitors. I mean, if this was the match that they had planned for day one, it would have been excellent. And then finally, we got Bobby Lashley hitting spears on everybody. Speared all three competitors and pinned Kevin Owens to become the number one contender. They're doing Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley at the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble isn't enough just to carry the show. You're giving away one of the biggest matches that they had never done before at the Royal Rumble. So I'm really, really excited to see that match. And I hope they don't give away too much. I'd love to see it again at WrestleMania. But Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar, it's going to be happening. It's going to be happening. Andrew Elder was off the hook. And we get the developing team of Rollins and Owens, who I will say again, I can see them versus RK Bro Mania. That was you. Okay. Yes. I thought I saw that. Yeah. You know what? That's a really good point. There was the beginnings of teamwork here. In fact, Kevin Owens was going to let Seth Rollins pin Bobby Lashley at one point because the plan was, all right, one of us will win this match, one of us will, and then we'll help that one person beat Brock at Royal Rumble, and then it's the two of them at WrestleMania for the title. That was their big master plan. Of course, it didn't happen. So yeah, a tag match, a tag team with those two, that could be fun. The Liar and the Visionary. They're having really fun backstage promos. The promos between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins are a lot of fun to watch and listen to. So, yeah, we do. And in fact, I do we have enough folks for the Rumble matches? Not the women's. They're gonna, of course, have to go and bring in some, NXT talent and some legends. I'm sure Molly Holly will come back again. Maybe they can get Trish and Lita out of retirement. But yeah, they'll figure out a way to have enough women for those matches for the Royal Rumble, and there are more than enough men. Now that we got Johnny Knoxville, it rounds it all out to 30. So we're doing well. We're doing really well there. But I do actually think that that some people will have a match on the show earlier and then still compete in the Rumble. So I do think that could happen. I don't know how many other surprises are floating out there. There's not many free agents in wrestling, and there's not a lot of old time guys that can still go, that can come back anymore. So I think it's going to be a straight up Rumble with not a ton of surprises, but it'll probably be booked really well just because, now we have to rely on, what goes on in the ring rather than just like, oh, wait for the surprise. So we'll see what happens. You can't return Edge every year, right? I've always been a fan of Brock and look forward to him versus Lashley. It sad to me that it came at the expense of Big E because it looks like they have nothing planned for him now, sadly. I think I think they do have stuff planned for Big E. I said earlier in the show that Brock Lesnar, should have 2 WrestleMania matches, main event night 1 and main event night 2 against Roman Reigns for the Universal title. I think night 1 should have been, by all accounts, Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. But you could have Brock Lesnar versus Big E as well. Maybe Big E wins the Royal Rumble now. That's a possibility. I don't think they're done with Big E by any stretch. I don't think so. But we'll see. But Big E chasing the title and now winning it legitimately instead of with the Money in the Bank thing, which that, even though it's storyline, it's a prop belt and all that stuff, the connotation is that it was cheap how he won the title and not really the kind of moment that you want. You want him to have a big moment. Hey, have him win the Royal Rumble and hit a big ending on Brock Lesnar and win the WWE title back at WrestleMania. There's a moment. I don't think they're done with him by any stretch. So we'll see. Anyway, everybody in the chat, let me know what you thought of Monday Night Raw. And give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I am going to share the Twitter poll and see what people thought of this show. Let's check it out here. Wow. Oh, people like this show. 91% thumbs up. I'm telling you, Raw's getting better. Raw's getting better. For all those that think, oh, Mike just hates Raw and that's it. He'll never. Nope. I said good stuff about the writing staff tonight. I've been kind of lauding, how Raw has been run in the last couple months, save for a couple of shows that were pretty damn bad. It's been a really good show. So, sorry to disappoint those that think that I just hate things unequivocally and will never be fair to it. Nope. So 91% of the people on Twitter currently right now are saying it's a thumbs up show. Brian says that he's excited that if that's the scenario for Biggie, that could be really good. I hope so. I hope it is. Billy Hefner gives a thumbs up. Machine Walls gives a thumbs up. Great start, great ending. That's good enough for me at this point. Thumbs up from Brian. And a Russian bot put in probably what is a scary scam website that is designed to steal all of your data and probably upset the very fabric of our democracy. So thank you, Anna Chakapak Pamahob, for sharing that. I appreciate that. Anyway, Andrew Elder, thumbs up. Looks like I'll be heading to SummerSlam Nashville the night after my birthday in July. Nice. And WrestleMania next year. I'm excited for the Rumble. That is very cool. Andrew, that would be really cool. You know what? If the pandemic clears up, I'm not going to WrestleMania this year. But if the pandemic clears up, for next year and things kind of get back to normal, I'll see you at that WrestleMania. I'll see you there, buddy. I'm just saying. That would be really cool. All right, everybody. That's Raw for me tonight. I'm going to cut off here before we reach the hour mark because I'm starting to get a little sore throat here from talking so much. But I really appreciate you all hanging out with me tonight. Thanks for joining me tonight. I'm sorry it was just a solo show again, but we'll have Victoria here for Raw next week. She will return for Post-Raw number 144. Until then, I'm Mike Tedesco, Wrestleview. Stay tuned for more content on the Wrestleview Radio, on the Wrestleview YouTube channel here. We've got some things in the works. And I also have Corey Howell. If you're watching this on DVR, I'm working on the retro recaps. I repeat, I'm working on the retro recaps. They're coming. Everybody, have a great night. Have a good one. Thanks for joining me tonight, and I will see you